Good morning, everyone. Podcast fans, friends, family, and even new podcast peoples. We are getting on with a few podcasts. Okay, it's only the fifth one now, but we are getting along with some topics, getting more comfortable in the bringing across my opinion or my perspective. Mostly I speak from my own perspective, so everyone has their own, and that's the great side of things. You always get to, you can see the same thing, but you can have a different view about it depending on what you did and how you were engaged, and so on and so on. So, in our last podcast, we covered a few things with gyms and finding the right place to train, and I announced that we had a fight night coming up on or over the weekend of that weekend. There were mad fit promotions fights, MMA, boxing, and Muay Thai. Obviously, that's the main concern. The event was amazing. We had 9 fights. There were obviously wins, losses, knockouts, and decisions to be had. As the fights were over the weekend, you can already see all the results. I'm not too sure on all the results because I had a fighter in and we mostly at the back. I did check out 1 or 2 fights, but I was busy with my fight at the back. Usually the coach or the people that are helping out at the back don't really watch the fights because there's stuff to do, warm up the fighter and stretch and hold pads and maybe get a few options. So I always forget something when I go to these fights, which is, I don't know, something I have to work on or something I must just accept. I don't know which one yet because sometimes it's never had an issue that I couldn't sort it out, but like this time I forgot the ball box. I even packed everything out and I still had checked and I thought about everything, and then on the fight night I forgot the ball box, but luckily the gym is just around the corner from mine, so we could quickly go and grab the ball box, and then we were all sorted. So unfortunately I forgot the ball box. It's always something. So that's why you're at the back, and if you go and watch the fights, and sometimes your concentration goes, and I might have only realized this too late. So luckily I didn't realize it too late. My other coach, he quickly popped down to the gym, grabbed the ball box, and took it from there. So it worked out. We got a unanimous decision to the opponent. Unfortunately, if you let it go to the judges, it's out of your hands. So even though you trained hard or you sacrificed whatever you sacrificed and you pushed as hard as you can in the fight, the judges, when the fight is done and the time's all up, the judges have the last say. The ref, the coaches, all that, they have no option in what happens once the time is done and you're allowed to go to the judges. So sometimes the judges call a good call, sometimes the judges call a bad call, but the only thing you can do afterwards is you can get it reviewed, you can dispute it, but again, it might be just that the result is the result. So I always try to tell my fighters, or if you fight, don't let it go to the judges, because the judges are only humans and they can also make mistakes, or they can also see things, or they can have a different perspective. As I said, it depends where you are. Your perspective is different. For me personally, I can't wait till the day where we just have 4 or 5 cameras on each corner and they clearly see everything, and there is some AI in the back there basically watching the video, and obviously it's a computer, so they will be able to compute with mad speed, split second speed. They will be able to tell you exactly how many shots landed correctly or not. Obviously you're going to have to put in parameters, as in if the guy loses his balance, point to the other guy. If the shot is taken on the arm, it's blocked. If the shot is taken XYZ, then obviously the computer will be able to distinguish between that, and we won't actually have to have judges. Not to say that I want to take their jobs away, but if the fight game is about the fighter, then I don't think, personally for me, as a fighter, as a coach, and as a a practitioner of the sport, I don't like that the judges can make mistakes on something that's so real. It's a fight, it's real, it's right in front of you, it's physical, you sacrificed, you trained, and so on and so on. But then, unfortunately, sometimes decisions go one way or the other. You could have a title fight on the line, right? And then the judge gives it to the wrong fighter. And, that could really break down another fighter's mental state, because if you've never fought or you don't know the game, it is quite intense if you lose and you thought you won, and then you watch the video and then you sit there and you lose your mind because something went wrong. So for me personally, when they pull in the AI or a computerized system that can distinguish between a knock or not a knock, a foul or not a foul, a point here, point there, I think we will have a safer and better judging. If you judge in, you hand in over maybe a sentence or a judgment on the person. I say sentence because if you sentence the guy to a loss, he could take that really badly, and it could lead to things like he could stop fighting, he could just throw away his whole career. But then, in actual fact, it could have gone the other way if it was watched correctly. So for me personally, I don't prefer live judges. I know it's not a thing yet, but when there is a system that they don't need a judge, then all they need is the ref. Because the ref, he just has to make sure that the rules are followed, and if a rule is not followed, he gives the fighter a warning or a point deduction and so on. But again, then it could be reviewed later by whoever, the computer or the AI or the human, and be like, no, that actually the ref gave the wrong call, and so on and so on. Even though the ref's decision is final, as in if he calls the fight and the fighter was getting knocked, his job is a lot easier. He's not really dictating the pace. He's not dictating the judgment, the outcome of the fight. All he has to make sure to do is that the guys are fighting, they're protecting themselves. If you're not protecting yourselves, obviously the ref has the job to call it if he sees that you're getting hurt, or if you can't stand on your 2 feet, so on, so on. Or if there's a really serious cut, then the ref and the judges have, and the fighters have nothing they can do except let the doctor decide. So if it's a really bad cut and you are not a pro, they'll probably call the fight, because the level that you're on has rules that dictate what can and can't be done. So in a pro fight, the guys will carry on fighting unless the blood is going into the eye or it's excessive bleeding, like it's like pumping out. The fight will be called. If the pro-am guy has a similar cut, he will not be able to carry on, because the doctor must understand, one, that it is not a professional bout where they can't allow the fighter to just get banged up the whole time, because pro-am or amateurs, meaning that the fighter has only had a certain amount of fights, and at some stage he can go up, but he has to have enough fights to get there. He has to understand what that could and can't happen. So it's very important to have a doctor also that understands what the Muay Thai is about, because if they see a cut and it could have gone on and they know nothing about the Muay Thai, then they're going to call it, because they are doctors. They take that Hippocratic oath, which is a bit of a little bit of a issue, because they are now telling the guy, okay, no, you've hurt yourself, but you can carry on. So on the oath side and on the not injuring a person side, they might take it as, look at, you called me in, I'm going to stop the fight. But it could have continued if it was a doctor that maybe is understanding what they are there for. And then you get doctors that they like just sit there and watch the fight, and then after the fight they don't really do what they need to do, as in check the fighter properly and so on and so on. So always a thing, always an issue. So our best advice you can get is, do not let it go to the judges, because if you cut open, that means you were in the wrong and you allowed yourself to be struck in a position where you're going to let the outcome now be based on someone else's judgment. So not the best thing. Other than that, now I'm actually nice and relaxed because the fight's done. When you're in camp with your guy, you obviously not tense the whole time, but you have to train every day. It's excessive training. You have to talk to the fighter. You have to make sure he's on time and he's motivated. He's eating properly. Maybe his weight needs to be up or down. You have to check his weight. And on top of that, I'm still teaching my normal classes. So depending on the fight or how many fighters you have, it can be quite a bit of stress. I know some, like this weekend or most promotions, the coach for the fighter is also the promoter. So he's in the corner, he's making sure tickets are sold, he's making sure any problems that arise are being sorted out, and so on and so on. So it's a lot of stress. So, coaches all have their outlet. Some go on holiday, some just do X, some go, have a trip somewhere, or just go do something completely different. So I'm actually going away soon in this month, a nice chill, because the fights are done and there's no fights coming up. So I have nothing I have to do except my normal classes. But I'll be going away to a nice secluded spot with my partner so that we can have a break from everything, really, because it can be quite stressful. It's not to say that other jobs aren't stressful, but every job has its stress, and the stress is the same, but then you look at, okay, what are you doing and what is making you stress? Sometimes it's good stress. Like for the fight camp, it is good stress, as in what you're training for, what you're looking to get towards, you're trying to make the guy better. And personally for me, when it's fight time, that's when the character of the fighter comes out. He really puts in the work to get better at something. So whether he wins or loses, whatever happens, he's gotten that much better. And a fight, personally, is like worth 3 months of training in class and doing your normal class, because you are on the limit, you're tired, you have to block, you have to punch, you have to kick. Then okay, I went to basically the limit there of my capability. And when I come back to the gym, then everything gets toned down. If you spar and the guy goes hard, you're like, oh, well, I've had a fight. You can't do everything to me, so I don't have to stress. I can be a little bit more relaxed, and so on and so on. Like when I fought, I did the Muay Thai, but I also did jiu-jitsu competitions. It's not a fight, it's a competition, because a fight is more you strike and knock the guy out. The competition is the jiu-jitsu, and whenever I did the jiu-jitsu, I was really relaxed. Sometimes not that I didn't train for it, but I wouldn't push as hard as if I was doing the Muay Thai. I would be doing rolling and do drills and stuff, but the Muay Thai or stand-up fighting, you do a lot more cardio, it's a lot more intense. So doing some jiu-jitsu was almost relaxing. I would go in there and you see everyone tense, but I just sit there, I stretch, I don't tense up for the jiu-jitsu comps, which is it's a different mind frame. But some guys stress, some guys don't. It just depends what your previous records are for things. If you've been punched in the face, kicked in the face, or something like that, you're not really too stressed about getting choked, because you can tap out. In the fight, you usually get knocked out. You don't get to tap out. The cornerman can throw the towel in, but that's different because you're probably getting smashed, and it's not really always your choice. You can stay down or take a knee, and the ref will count you. But on the jiu-jitsu side, it is more acceptable, the tap. Then in the fight, you usually want to fight until you can't anymore. That's usually the fighter's mentality. So you might see a guy get knocked out. He's out cold, but the last thing he remembers is before that knockout. So when he wakes up, he's like, no, I'm fine. He wants to stand up. He tries to fight you for a bit. And then you got to slowly tell him, look here, it's over. You got to maybe the coach comes in and says, look at me. It's your coach speaking. It's done. And then usually the guy, he trusts his coach. He doesn't, maybe he wakes up, he sees stranger's face, so he doesn't trust everyone. And as soon as the coach comes in, coach usually says, look here, it's done. And then the fighter knows, okay, it's done. And if they view the fight afterwards and see how they got knocked out, they know it was completely over. But, fighters are meant to be like that, because you get knocked, you want to carry on. You can come back from a big knock, but not everyone can. If you're knocked out and it's 10 seconds or you clean knocked out, fight's done. You can't carry on, So now we're just back to our normal training. I always tell my fighters to take the week off. So I haven't seen my fighter since the fight. It was a very emotional fight, a lot of things happening, things right and wrong and so on. But the fighter and the coach needs a break from each other, because now they just almost spend 6 weeks every single day seeing each other, training, pushing, the coaches shouting, the fighters tired, and it works on your mental strength. So I tell my fighters to take the week off, no training. If they want to do other stuff, that's all good. And I usually say the week off because then they get their mind back to normal, but clear mind and things, and then they decide, okay, if they carrying on with the fight game, if they're going to stop, what they're going to work on when they come back to training. And then also it's for the coach to have a breather, so he can also see what they need to work on, what he might need to adapt for the next camp, and so on. So I will see my fighter again next week, Monday, or I'll message him over the weekend and then just say to him, everything's back to normal, how you feeling, and then he would be back to training. Fighters, it's not that many people that want to fight, as in wanted to fight, that actually fight. A lot of people, they run their mouth, they say, I want to fight. So I don't actually listen to that anymore, or I haven't listened to it for a long time. What I do is, if you want to fight, I tell the guys, this is the drill. Don't tell me. Come to fighters class and stay in fighters class, and then I will see your character in the fighters class. It's no point you telling me you want to fight or saying, hey, I want to drop weight, or so on, because it's all talk, and the fight game is all action. So the guys that talk the least are usually the ones that I know, okay, they're actually going to be there. Then you have the middle ground of guys that want to come in, they want to call themselves fighters, they want to train and what, but they never want to put in the time and actually fight. They never want to put their name down for a fight. They're like, I got this on, or coach, I got work and stuff. Motherfucker, if you don't think that fighting's a sacrifice, then you're never going to fight, because everyone has a job, or is getting a job, or has some other things they have to deal with, but you have to make a plan. If you want to fight, you have to make a plan. That's why I don't like the talking. I tell them, let me see you in the class. Some guys I might say, okay, you want to fight, but you definitely can't fight at the weight you're at, so you need to lose 10 kilograms. Okay, might sound like a lot, but some people have the kilograms to lose. You can't expect a guy or a girl or any fighter to come in if they are short or tall and they are overweight or too underweight. You can't expect a fight to happen, because sometimes if you're too light, there's no fights for you. And if you're too heavy, you could be, say, 90 kilograms, and you are probably like more an average height. You're going to fight giants. Just so you can have perspective. I weigh about 85, 192 centimeters, so just under 1 meter something. My brother is 2 meters tall, and he was fighting at 75 kilograms. So for him, that's an advantage. But if he was to, go up, he's tall enough to be there. And if he's on 75, then he's at a high advantage, because most of his opponents at 75 are going to be considerably shorter. So you want to be careful who you fight. He fought a guy that was I can't tell you his exact weight. I don't know. I didn't measure him, but he was up to, say, my brother's solar plex, so halfway down his chest. This guy was that tall. Now that is a huge difference in height, but the weight was the same. So they don't have a height restriction; they have a weight restriction. So if you can get there, or if you are in that weight, you throw down. So, coming back to the gym now, also with the classes, I don't give less in the classes, but I don't get as technical, because I want to keep my mental and my energy levels for the fighter, because I'm getting in there with them. I'm holding pads, I'm sparring with them, I'm clinching with them. Some coaches might be against that, because, their bodies take some strain and stuff like that. But depending on who it is, my fighter was only 57 kgs, so it wasn't a struggle for me to hold pads for him. It wasn't like I was holding for a heavy guy and I was taking the brunt of it on my arms. it worked out. But you want to have other fighters that you can use to your advantage. Like if you're not going to be there, or if you can't do a certain thing with the guy because maybe you're too heavy or you're too tall, you don't want the fighter to train with guys that are too out of his weight class. So usually in the beginning, it's not such a big thing because the fighter needs to train hard. The first few fights are, you're getting into it still. Maybe you're not too focused in the first one, then the second one you're more focused, and so on and so on. So it's good to have teammates, but sometimes if you don't have teammates, then the coach has no option but to jump in. So I jump in there, I do all the stuff with my fighters and so on and so on. And the outcome also hurts the coach because he's been putting in all the work and so on and so on. So when you do these things, afterwards you want to have a nice break, or just not see the fighter for a second so you can get your mind straight. And now the classes go back to more technical, getting the guys fit and focusing on the next game. You can't go backwards. As I said, you can dispute the thing, but you can't go backwards. So you can't have the fight again. You can't take away the record. You can't take away what happened. But what you can do is you can learn from it. So even though on the day the coach and the fighter might not be thinking that week after the fight, the coach and the fighter hopefully come back to, okay, what did I learn? Not what I did wrong, but what did I learn? What did I do right? Because there's a lot of things that you can do right, and then learn from that. But it's all mentality. If you want to fight and you want to be in the fight game or the training game, you got to have a good mentality. So now I go back to more technical stuff with my fighters, and what I do is I take all the stuff that I've learned that was wrong in the fight and I put it in my classes, because I don't know if that guys or the girls or any of the fighters or students want to ever fight one day. So I try to make sure that in the classes we work on the bad things that we've learned from the fight. We double down on the good things from the fight, and so on and so on. So now I will, get back into working on some things for myself, growing, learning more, what I need to do, less of this, more of that, so on and so on. But I don't think there was many things in this fight. You can go watch it on our YouTube channel. It will be uploaded there probably by next week. So it's not professional photography, because some fights are just amateur ones. They don't have the support or the finance, or they just don't film the fights. It's just whoever films it on their phone or camera. If you have a photographer, you can get a better angle. So some of the fights you'll see on our YouTube channel is professional. Some of the fights, or most of the fights, are all amateur recording. So like maybe a phone, you can make out everything. It's not like it's all grainy. It's not back in the 2000s where phones were a bit shitty. Now the cameras are like amazing. You can use a phone and it looks professional. So the quality's there. The angles, you can only see, if it's professional, you get all the good angles from where the action's going. But if it's a phone, you only get the angle of where the person's actually standing at that time. So go check it out. As I said, I'll post those probably next week or in this month. I'll post it. I'm just just reviewing it and making sure that it's okay to put up. I don't want to put up videos that you can't see anything, because then it's just pointless. So, you can go have a look at a few of our other fights there and see what we get up to. Again, most people, 1% of people are fighters. So you get some gyms that are fight gyms, then okay, if I go there, I'm probably going to fight, or I want to fight already. Other gyms, they have a combination of 90% students that just want to train for fitness, which is amazing. And then you have students that just want to fight. So most gyms do a bit of both. For myself, I got 90% students just wanting to get fit. So I don't do like a Taibo class, and I always make a joke in class. I have nothing against I'd say Taibo, because it's very close to the Muay Thai thing. I don't do dance Muay Thai or cardio Muay Thai. It's Muay Thai training, and with the cardio and the physical in between. I don't see the necessity to do a dance Muay Thai or a Thai Bo Muay Thai if Muay Thai itself is physical and strenuous enough that if you do the actual Muay Thai, you can, one, get fit, get strong, get your technique in. I feel like don't waste your time jumping and dancing around and then you think, oh, I can fight, or oh, I know how to do Muay Thai. Rather go and actually do it. It's not any different to your normal gym. You go 2, 3, 4 times a week. You have something that you're going to work on: arms, legs, stomach, whatever. The Muay Thai is no different. Some days is punches, some days is elbows, some days is combination, some days is just more physical drills. So if you are a bit afraid or worried to jump into a martial arts gym, don't be. Really, it's obviously it's intimidating when you go there. Everyone else knows almost what they're doing. So you might be the new guy, and the other people are already like comfortable and they know exactly what's up and they look like, oh, they look jacked. But when you train, your body becomes strong. Your mind becomes strong. You are able to do more. So it's not that those people are intimidating you. It's probably just that it's new to you and new things are intimidating. But I promise you, if you do one class, you will feel the vibe of the place, and then you can take it from there. If you walk in and the vibe is shit, like no one says hello to you or someone's rude to you straight off the bat, then maybe you're at the wrong place. But most times for the martial arts, there's a lot of respect, and the coaches are always interested in helping the new people get into it, because that's how the sport grows. The other students are now in the process and they're training. It's a journey. For me personally, I feel it's a lifelong journey. I don't ever want to stop doing Muay Thai. I might not fight anymore, or I might not be able to hit the pads as hard or run hard at a later stage of life, but I can always do the Muay Thai. It's a mentality thing. It's an exercise thing. You can do it without fighting, without hurting yourself, and even without making contact with anyone, if that's your personal preference. You can do it. You can stay fit. You can be mentally strong. 2, your body is conditioned, so you don't, or if you knock into something or if you fall, you don't break or collapse. You can take a bit of weight. You are a sturdy, well-rounded person. It's not a case of, oh, they must be thin, or they must be this, or they must be strong. Just training. Every day you train, you get better, you get a little stronger, you can take more. If only you want to be able to carry your bags by yourself instead of asking for assistance because before you were too weak, hey, there we go. If you always wanted to do a pull-up, well, you can do it. You can get there. The amazing thing about the exercise is it's all up to you. It's not, oh, my boss is this, oh, the world is this, oh, I couldn't get this money or this clothes or whatever. The training is really all you have to do, show up. That's all I need my guys to do. I don't need you to do anything else. I just need you to walk through that door 3 times a week, and I guarantee or promise that I will help you on your journey. I will get you results. Obviously, we can train as hard as you want. If you are eating really, really badly, I'm saying, like, if you're having takeaways every day, a lot of sugar, you don't sleep enough, you are going to get mixed results. But if you train, I always say, the 70% of it is in what you eat, but that shouldn't be the first thing that people tell you to focus on, because yes, you can eat clean and you can drink clean and all of that, and you can look good, but your body is still not going to be strong. The inside might be healthy, but the outside of your body might be weak, as in you can't even run 500 meters. You can't do 2 push-ups. For me personally, I believe in the saying that you should not be allowed to not know the full potential of your body. As in, if your full potential is you want to fight, then you fight. That's your full potential. If your full potential is, okay, I just want to be able to do 10 push-ups, then get your ass in that gym and start working. It's only you holding yourself back. Once you start training, right, even though that's only like 30-40% of it, then the food can come into play, because you will still get results if you train. Even if you eat shit, you'll still get results. If you eat well, you still won't be able to do the 5 push-ups. So for me personally, get the training first. The eating, the lifestyle will come. Obviously, there's sacrifices to be made. Maybe you want to cut down on drinking, and if you do, you might not see some friends. Maybe you want to cut down on eating a certain way. Again, you might have people saying, "Oh, what are you dieting now?" No, motherfucker, I'm not dieting. This is real food. Going to McDonald's or KFC's and, on a cheat day, if that's your cheat day, cool. But you can't have a cheat day too often, especially with that stuff. It's not even real food. Someone sees you eating carrots. If you see the stuff I eat, you'll be like, "Oh, are you dieting?" I'm like, "No." Like, where do you come from? Just because I don't eat shit, or just because I haven't bought into the philosophy of what is good food and what's not good food. Like advertisers will advertise, "Oh, I got a salad now at McDonald's. Oh, I got a Diet Coke." Fuck the Coke. Don't drink that shit. Diet Coke versus normal Coke versus 2% or whatever the fuck. None of that shit is good. It's just you basically going from one bad thing to another, because it might say no sugar, okay? But then you read that label, and instead of sugar, it's got another artificial sweetener, which might be even worse than the sugar. So sometimes the sugar is not the bad guy, but the advertisement or the promotion is making it out to be the bad guy. But in actual fact, if you check out the label, because it doesn't have sugar, it's probably got all these other bad things in. So it's all a matter of perspective, and it's all a matter of what you want to sacrifice versus what you want to gain. Some people can't do it by themselves, and that is not anyone's fault. So just find yourself a gym where you have an instructed class. I wouldn't advise like a normal gym where you go in, you pay your membership, and then there's just weights and there's machines everywhere. Because most of the time, if you haven't done anything, you don't know what you're doing. You put on too much weight or too little weight. You do an exercise that's not going to work for you versus ones that you could work, but you don't even know. So for my personal advice is I didn't like normal gyms, because then you go there, you lift weights, you push in, but there's no one helping you. And when you know something and you see other people doing wrong stuff, you're like, okay, no one's going to help this person. They're going to injure themselves. And as soon as someone gets injured, then they're done training. And then they never go back because they're like, "Oh, I'm injured." But in actual fact, you're not injured. You just did the exercise wrong. Your body said, "Nah, I don't like this. You have to rest me. You have to recoup." And recuperation exercises, I always find, even with my guys, it's the hardest thing to get them into. They forget to do it. They don't want to do it. They don't want to sacrifice doing other stuff. So they hurt their shoulder. They'll still do bench press because, "Nah, my chest, coach." Fuck your chest, but by the time you have a chest, that injury is going to be doubly as sore, and then you're going to have other issues where you have that pain constantly, or so on and so on. I have students the same. They have an injury, right? I have tried to help them. I tell them, firstly, I'm not a doctor. I can only speak from my own perspective. I hurt myself. I went to an actual doctor. They said, "Do X." I also did my own research, because you can't trust everyone. Some doctors might be it's quite rude, but they might be unfit. They might never have trained in their life, right? But they want to tell you how to run your body. Like, I've been to a doctor like, "Oh, I hope you're not doing deadlifts." Motherfucker, have you ever done a fucking deadlift? You look like a dead piece of weight. That's what your ass looks like. So you have to watch out for some people. That's why you must do your own research. Go to a professional, listen to what they say. Then go and Google or any fucking search engine. Go speak to a professional. Speak to 3 or 4 different people. Google and research as much as you can, because I promise you, you can find more knowledge online than you can from the doctor's mouth, because they're only speaking from their perspective. They are speaking as in, okay, how am I going to make you not hurt yourself again? Okay, don't do this, don't do that. Most doctors will tell you not to do martial art, jiu-jitsu. Oh, fuck, that was some mad language there. Jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, because they'll be like, "Oh, well, that's why your knuckles are sore." Okay, cool, my knuckles are sore, but I can fix that problem and still continue to train. So you got to be careful. I've had a few that would literally tell me not to do the stuff that I'm doing, and I'm like, "Guys, just because you can't do it doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. So you have to allow yourself to heal, train, and that's when the mental strength comes in, because obviously you're not going to be able to train full, and you have to remember that you can't do certain moves. You have to relax, you have to recoup, you have to recover. So that's why I say, if you find an instructor or a gym that has instructed class or a flow of the class, that instructor can tell you to do certain moves. But then you'll have the people that still want to train. They'll train with that injury. They refuse to fix it themselves. So what I do is I say, listen, tell me the truth now. Can you do X, Y, Z? Then when they say, oh, I can do this, then you let them do something and you watch them and you're like, oh, why couldn't you do that? Oh, my knee's sore. Then I tell them, look here, you on the bag. I'm not going to even deal with you. You can train. I can't hurt you more. It's all about making sure that you progress. I'm not there to hurt you. I always tell my guys, if you saw, I'm not there to hurt you. I'm not going to make you do push-ups. And I don't care if you want to do them. In my class, while I'm instructing, while I'm in charge of your well-being for this hour or two, or this time or that time, I will not allow you to do certain things, because what's the point? You have so many other moves you can work on. Just because you want a chest or you want arms, or ladies want thick thighs or that ass, motherfucker, there's other things you can do. If you have a fucking huge strong ass and these quads, monster legs, but then your upper body's all shriveled up and your stomach's nothing and your shoulders and your arms are nothing, you're not doing your body a justice. That's your body. You're welcome to do that, but when I train you, I'm going to make sure that you're more balanced, because if you can squat, say 100 kgs, 50 kgs, right? And you weigh 60 and you can't do a pull-up, then there's something wrong. Your training is unbalanced. Okay, if you can do a pull-up and you can bench 100 kilograms, but your legs, you can't even do 50 squats, there's a problem. You're overcompensating on your body, and your body doesn't know that you're doing it. It will just compensate by itself. So if you are working a wrong technique, it will still allow you to do it. After 6 months, you might see one muscle is bigger than the other, or you might see, oh, why am I limping, or why am I leaning a bit this way, and so on and so on. Again, you have an injury. That injury will come out later on, or your body will subconsciously help you out, which that's what it's there for. So you got to help your body out. Make sure you train properly there, balance there. Don't overtrain a certain muscle. When it comes to like a martial art or a physical training, say boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, all those striking sports or clinching sports. For the Jiu-Jitsu, unless you have an actual injury, like you can't lift your arm a certain way or so on and so on, you can train quite often. You might be tender, as in your muscles might be sore, but if you haven't trained before, then you got to shut the hell up and you got to go through that, because that happens. That is training. Your body is going to be sore, not injured. If you can't do a certain movement, or when you do a certain movement it hurts, that's an injury. Then you have to tone it down a bit. But if you are just a bit tender from push-ups, you can go back in there. Remember, most of the time you're doing own body weight stuff. If you are doing gym, weights, bodybuilding, so on, then you have to allow a different form of training. You can't do too much on one, because that muscle is going to take too much and there can be damage. For Muay Thai, you can go every day. I did fighters class. Fighters class was Monday to Thursday. It was an hour and a half class, and I did that every day. I think I might have missed like a few sessions, but only a handful, because one, I was never injured enough to stay away from class, and when I was, the coach would say, okay, you have to work the bag until you come right. And I always came right, because one, I went to the doctor. If it persisted, I did the exercises to recover. I allowed the area to relax. Even now, as I'm sitting here, I have a shoulder injury, niggle, because it's not, I can do all movements, but there is a pain just at the back by my shoulder blade. There's a muscle that runs next to the shoulder blade and the spine that is a bit tight. I need to go get it checked out. And when I was doing the camp with my fighter, because he was light, I was able to withstand it, but it was a bit of a niggle. Now it's actually a lot better. I don't feel it so much, but it's still there. but I don't do certain movements now. I don't elbow, I don't hook. I throw light straight punches just to move my arm, and I just stretch it. And I need to go to the doctor, but I wanted to wait until after the camp because no point getting it done and then I use it again. So I have to let it rest. So it's very important, these things, guys. You might not think it's important. You might be like, oh, I'll just leave it. I actually don't know why people leave it. I can't, from my perspective, I can't tell you. I have these students myself that just will carry on doing it. I'm like, you know what? You do it, but I'm not going to let you do contact stuff. I'm not going to let you do certain moves. And if whatever you do for yourself, that's on you. You know, sometimes you are in your own way, and someone will tell you that, and you might get upset. But hopefully one day it goes through that thickness of your skull, because it's good to be stubborn, but it's not good to be stubborn in injuries. That's a stupid stubbornness, because you're only hampering yourself, because no one else is feeling that pain. No one else is feeling that niggle. No one else is staying on your level because they're injured. They're progressing and they're going to be way past you. And just because you messed around, you are going to have this injury. So some people allow themselves to be injured until it's like at breaking point. And then again, that's silly. Some people will injure themselves and then go full just because it's probably ego. You know, it's your own ego that is hurting you. Don't you see how silly that is, to hurt yourself with your ego? Allow yourself to heal. Allow yourself to let go of certain things that you can't do. Okay, my bum's looking nice now. I can't squat now. I'm going to squat anyway because I like my bum. Why? If you fix yourself, you can go back to the full capacity of your body, and you can still train. You can go harder. You can go back to whatever. It doesn't take that long. Like, I broke my leg, so that's a long one. But all my other injuries were like a few months. What's a few months? If you say you're working Muay Thai, you got 8 striking points. If your shoulder's sore, okay, and your other shoulder's not, then you're going to have another arm that you can focus 100% on. You can get better. Once you come back, you still got that other arm, but now you're better on the other side. So when I broke my leg, I never had an inside leg kick, because one, you want to throw that back power. You know, it sounds nice. You bang it out. But for 2 years and more, I couldn't throw the back leg correctly. So for 2 years, I focused on inside leg kicks. And it changed my whole style. It changed my whole stance a bit. And now I have, from my perspective, I have an okay or to good inside leg kick. I can really snap it in. It slows people down. I catch them. It's fast. I only go on perspective of when I've used it. And when I've used it, it's been very... it worked really well. My back roundhouse kick, I don't use as often, just because that's my injured leg, and now I favor the inside leg kick. So because it's a nice little kick, so I will throw a lot of inside leg kicks to set you up, and then I'll bomb you with the back leg. So that's how you can get better. I don't know how else you think you get better. It's like when you're a baby, you don't cry if you make a mistake. You crawl, you fall, you just get up and you do it again. You might cry, but you still do it because you know, well, I have to walk. So when we become adults, we aren't willing to fail for whatever reason. But I don't force our guys to fail, but I do allow them to fail. I don't shout at them or reprimand them for everything. I usually get more on their case when they are hurt and they still want to try to throw it. I'm like, who cares about that kick, man? Do a punch now. Do an elbow. Get better at knees. Because I tell you, your elbows and knees are shit, for sure. You want to work on your kick. You don't even have... None of your moves are good. Before you started the Muay Thai, you were shit. You couldn't do anything. When you started Jiu-Jitsu, what's a forward roll? What's a hip escape? When you start boxing, what's a slip? What's a bob? What's a block? Like, you didn't know these things before. So, the human condition is we do it and then we get upset when we can't do the thing that we just started doing anyway, which is a bit silly. So I try to make sure, especially on my own body, if I can't do something or if I'm injured, I just forget that I have that limb. Sometimes you throw it accidentally because it's in the rhythm, but most times, like when I broke my leg, I just forgot that I had a back roundhouse, and I only used my front kick, and then everything I adapted for the front roundhouse. Then once my back leg was back in action, you go back easily because you've already done it, to using the back leg and so on and so on. So, it's all a matter of getting out of your own way with the food, with the training. Don't make excuses like, I can't go, or it's too far, or work this, work that. Get out of your own way. I've had so many people that want to train, they're injured, then they'll train, and then they'll go and do something stupid like kick the bag, and their groin's injured. Then they'll do a high kick, and then they're like, oh, my groin. But have you even rested the damn thing? I've had groin injury, light stuff. It's like a niggle. I let it rest, it went away. I never had it again. I stretched it out, made sure it was stronger. I had a wrist injury. Okay, I just don't punch. Fucking elbows, knees, kicks. I had a toe injury. Okay, don't kick with that foot or change the way. Because sometimes when you kick someone, they block silly or something, and then you hurt your toe by accident on them. So you just have to adapt, and then you're getting better. I don't understand it sometimes. It's and that's why I say it's the human condition, because there's some things that people might see that I do, and they're like, why do you're in your own way? But you got to adapt or die. You got to push through it. And again, it's not, Muay Thai is my life. It doesn't mean to say it's every listener's life, but you can find something that you enjoy, and you can do a martial art and never fight, but you can get stronger, more confidence, not to go out there and fight people, but as in, if there's a situation that you need to pull up or push or move or dodge something, okay, you can do it. Don't be one of those people that, nah, you don't know me, bro. You don't know me. When I get into a situation, I go blank, and then, yeah, you're going to go blank because someone's going to knock you the fuck out, because there's people that talk, and then there's people that can do stuff. And I'd rather be the guy that can do stuff and not use it. And if I needed to just dodge something or block something, because I don't want to fight people, if it comes to me and you have to do a move or something, I would prefer to do a jiu-jitsu maneuver or a throw or just a mission or subdue the guy, because one, if you hit someone wrong, you can hurt yourself. If you hit and you get maybe cut open, you can get a sickness. You can get stuff that happens to you. If you get hit with a broken bottle, you can get hepatitis B. You're never fighting again. You're not allowed to be in gyms. If the coach knows that you have it, then unfortunately you're not allowed to train, because that thing is a very dangerous thing for a fighter, because once you have that, they won't allow you to fight. HIV obviously is the same, but HIV is a bit different, because for the fighter, there's more, the one that you get easier from being stupid and fighting in clubs is the hepatitis. So once you have that, it's unfortunate. You're never allowed to fight again. You might fight at places that don't have any sanctioning, but if they find out you knew that you had it and you didn't do anything and you didn't promote it to the promoter, you can get sued and so on. So you don't want any of that. Not good at all. It's the same as if you are on, taking a supplement, as in, I'm not talking about whey proteins and stuff. I'm talking about the serious stuff, it rhymes with roids. So, it's very prevalent in the martial art world, because you get injured so often. The guys will use steroids to make sure their injury is healed up quicker, or they will take a certain supplement that is illegal that will up their performance. They'll be able to train harder, and then they will be able to heal up quicker, which, if you're in a fair fight and you're both savages, the guy that has that little bit of gear on them or in his body, he's going to be able to hit harder, swing faster, and go for longer, meaning the other guy, because you're both savages, the other guy could get seriously injured, because now you're a savage and you know what you're doing, and you can bang hard. On top of it, you have a little extra in your system, So I don't buy into that stuff. I keep it as natural as possible, because I believe that whatever my body is capable of, that's as hard as I can go. It also helps you not do too much that your body can't handle. I believe that, because you obviously see like bodybuilders, if you think that that's natural, then maybe you're also on it. But that frame or that size is if you look at it on a perspective of what your body's capable of, that is not a natural outcome. I'm not saying that it's not, I don't have anything against steroids or steroids. I don't use them. I never have. But some people, when you get older and you're shriveling up a bit, you want to have some more energy. You want to still train. You're not that old. You just have an issue, or you are a little bit older, but you just want to live the rest of your life capable. I mean, we're all going to die, so it's not a chain smash. But when you're jumping into a fight situation, it's a different story. If you're training at the gym and use tender and use a steroid cream or a steroid, that's on you. You would never fight, so you're not going to hurt anyone. The only person you're doing it to is yourself, which I think you should be able to do anything to your body if you are legally of competent mind and body and spirit, or whatever they call it. I don't think 10-year-olds and 15-year-olds should be juicing themselves up to the gills because they want to be ripped. I think you have to be of a legal age, and then you should be able to do anything you want to your body. No one should be able to tell you, hey, you can't smoke, you can't drink. But when the problems come, then you can't also expect someone to be very empathetic with you. They might be. You will find people, if you want to change, they might help you. But, if you're taking it the whole time and you didn't look at the risks, or you're like, I just want to be big, or you go fight and you hurt someone, then that's your responsibility that you have to handle by yourself. I keep my fighters away from that nonsense. Cannabis products are completely fine, legal, because some people might say it's a performance enhancer, but it's all natural. Steroids and stuff like that is not natural. It's the stuff, if you're taking blood out of your body and putting something into that blood, then putting it back in your body, that's not natural, because you can't do that without gear. Your body can't just pump blood out and then you drink it back in at another time. It's impossible to do without actual physical gear and so on and so on. So you wanna be careful of that stuff. Again, if you need it and you're just training to train yourself, I'm all for it. I have no problem with someone, I'm injured, coach, I'm going to use a steroid cream. Cool, use the steroid cream. I just want you to understand the benefits and the disadvantages of it, and also don't get addicted to it, as in you take it every day because you want to be you like the effect. Then that the problem becomes that you abuse it, and then other things can happen to you. You can get sick, you can heart attacks and so on and so on. I don't wish that on anyone, but I do wish a speedy recovery to anyone. And if they use something and they don't abuse it, and they're doing it responsibly, and it's their own body, they're not putting it in anyone else, or they're not forced to do it, then by all means, I'm happy. But if you're a competitor, then this should be the case. And it's always up for debate, and some people are going to see it one way or the other way. But I feel if both parties are saying, look, I'm taking this, and I accept if you take the same, we're both on the same, we both get tested, we're not doing too much, no one's doing more or less than the other person, and you both agree to it, different story. But if you go into a fight situation and that guy doesn't know that you did it, and he's natural and you are juiced up to the gills, that's, for me personally, is dishonest. And the whole thing about martial art is supposed to be a discipline. You're supposed to be humble, respect and all that. Okay, it's not for everyone, because some people learn how to fight and they become more of an ass. But, that's just, I think, a bit of their own insecurity. When you can fight, then you go bully people. Bullies are usually insecure. And if they can fight, they're even worse, because now, even if you try to stand up to them, they can really do some damage to you, because they know how to fight, they know how to defend themselves, and they are like, well, come at me, bro, I know what I'm doing. So yeah, I would say this podcast is more just a bit of advice about things. Get in contact with some people, talk to a few different people, find someone that you trust, and that's maybe gone through it, or definitely gone through it themselves. Like, I don't trust any coach that hasn't had a fight. I don't trust any judge or ref that hasn't had a fight. I don't trust teammates that tell you what to do when they haven't done it themselves. I don't tell my guys to do anything that I can't do. And I have a very basic training. So I don't do jumping or a lot of spinning moves. I do a spinning elbow, but I don't have many spinning shots. I do basic strikes. So I never tell my guys to do advanced stuff that I haven't done, I tell them they must put in the work themselves so they can get the feeling of it. I can't help them with everything. It's the same with, if I wouldn't tell someone how to do a pull-up if I can't myself do a pull-up. So you'll find if you train with me or ask me advice, it's always something that I've done or that I've actually been working on. I would never, ever give advice, I don't think you should give advice if you haven't done it yourself, because how are you giving the advice if you haven't done it yourself? So I've never done steroids or roids and stuff like that. So I can't tell you what it feels like or what it does to you. Maybe one day when I'm older and I need some replacement, my body is breaking down, but I still I want to live my life to the fullest. You can get a replacement, or you might go on to a testosterone booster or something. That's a different story. I'll be too old to fight anyway. And if someone wants to fight me, then I'll still be able to hold my own. I don't want my bone to break if I punch them or something, because sometimes you got to be the warrior in the garden. I was just watching this thing. I don't know the saying, but it was a Chinese proverb, it was a Japanese proverb, it was this proverb. For me, it's just a proverb. I think we're all humans living on this planet. We are divided by race and culture and how we look, but we all have blood in our system. We all breathe air, and we all talk shit. So I just think it's a human proverb. I'd rather be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war, because if you need it and you're like, I don't have it. I'd rather have it and be controlled, be a savage if I need it. But most days, maybe your whole life, you never have to be a savage. You just chill. But if something happens, I can protect myself, my partner, my kids, my home. Because if someone comes at you and they have ill intent, if you don't do anything about it, then I feel like it's on you. Whether you run away or whether you just can talk your way out or anything, you need to have these skills. You can't go into it with no skill, because what's the point? I don't think you should allow yourself to be the victim. I don't think you should allow yourself to be the bully. I think you should be in the middle, as in if you are trained, you can also see things before they're going to happen. Maybe someone's been intimidated, and you just get out their way. I'm not saying fight. I don't like to fight. If I have to, that's the only time I fight. I've had one fight outside of the actual ring, and I just held the guy, and the bouncers or whatever came to take him away. I didn't want to fight. I don't need to fight. I have a release. I have the ability to spar where I can if I want to go hard and get hit hard. I have the ability to jump into the ring. Even now, you can still jump in. Even if you're older, younger, there's always someone willing to let you fight. So you don't need to fight someone for your own ego to get yourself up there. But I've had a lot of situations where the fight almost broke out, and just because I know myself and I was disciplined, I could show a strong outlook. I could maybe talk a certain way to basically diffuse the situation. Most times that's what's happened. You've had to defuse the situation with just your body language and saying certain things or doing certain things. There's no need to actually start swinging, because once you start swinging, then all else is lost. I don't know the saying. There's definitely a saying about violence being the last resort. It is, because if violence is your first resort, then I don't think you're the smartest of people. I think you must be intelligent, but a savage. Okay, this is spoken about a lot nowadays. People are like, oh, you should be calm, and no, you should not. You should not be able to pull, push, or lift your own weight. You should not be a victim just because you're weak. Weak as in weak-minded or body. I'm not saying, oh, I'm small, I can't do nothing. Oh, I'm big, that's why I can do stuff. No. If there's a situation and you can run away, but you're not fit enough to keep running and they get you, that's your fault. If there's a situation and you're stuck and you can't pull yourself up or push yourself up or pull, move, or anything yourself up, then that's on you. It's not on anyone else. Okay, because I had an accident, and because I was fit and I was training for a fight, actually, my injuries were a lot less. I should have had like whiplash and nonsense, but I only broke my leg. My rest of my body was good. And then I came back, and now I'm back to normal. Everything's good. So, but if I was and I'm saying for myself, if I was weaker, as in physically or mentally, I probably would have been still hobbling around with a fucked up leg and stuff. Because once you have an accident, you got to push from nothing to back to what you were, and stronger. You want to be stronger than what you were, because now you've gone through something. You got to push and become stronger. Otherwise, you never come back from it. So get advice. Google, guys. Jesus Christ, internet is amazing. There's so much information. You don't have to listen to jack shit. You don't have to listen to anyone. You can research the shit out of any subject online. If you can't find it on Google, maybe Google doesn't index what you're trying to Google. Then go find another web browser. I use DuckDuckGo because it indexes more than what Google indexes, because Google only indexes things that it thinks is right or has the right parameters and what. I'm not saying DuckDuckGo is the best one, but and you can still find bad things and viruses. So be careful what you type in, because it will give you exactly what you want. Google, on the other hand, helps you. Like if you type in a very disgusting thing, you might not find it on Google. It might say, hey, are you sure? Other web browsers will just give you that shit. So be careful. But you can find information about anything, guys. Trust me. I just Google anything that pops into my head. I'm like, no, I didn't invent this, or I wasn't the first person to think this. Google it, and I tell you now, there's so many articles or things about it. If you can't find something, then you've got yourself a nugget, because no one has spoken about it or done it yet. So you can definitely Google or YouTube. People YouTube everything. I YouTube most things. If I can't find something, I'm not going to go click. I just go find a video, and they tell me exactly how to do it. Sometimes you might feel silly because it's like, oh, I can't believe I didn't know this. But sometimes you got to click here, then you got to click there, then you got to click there. And then also sometimes they give you the simplest way, what you need first before you try to do it, and so on and so on. So for gymming and health and food, go and research. And if you don't just take the first thing, because if there's a contradiction that says artificial sweetener is better than sugar, go and research, okay, what is artificial sugar, or what is artificial sweetener? Then you can see, oh no, but sugar is better than this stuff. Or you can find a replacement, or you can tell yourself, look, I don't need the sugar anymore. Oh, I didn't even know sugar was in there. Stop reading if it says no sugar. Stop reading if it says low fat. You guys are being blinded by the advertisement, as in they just tell you what you want to see, but as soon as you turn the can around, you see the ingredients is typed in very small, and you see, what is this sugar? Oh fuck, they got this sweetener, that sweetener. Why am I drinking this bullshit? That's not even, I think that's used for something else. Okay, so you just got to be careful. Same with supplements. Supplements are nice, good flavor, Oreo flavor, strawberry flavor, but that shit is jacked with sugars. And sugars is fine sometimes when you train and you burn it off, but if you are chowing that stuff and you're not training, you're like, why is my face breaking out? Why am I getting fatter? Why is my blood sugar so high? I'm diabetic and I'm going wrong here. Just gooi that ingredients. Luckily in South Africa, if it's all sanctioned, which most stuff can be, it legally has to have the ingredients on the back. If you find a supplement or something without the ingredients on, just be careful, because if they're not showing the ingredients, they might be trying to be covering up stuff. If it says low fat, go read the back. If it says no sugar, go read the back. It's probably got no sugar, but then it's got, like, say, for instance, xylitol, which is an artificial sweetener, and it's not good for you. Then you might as well just be having the sugar. You can get plain stuff as well. You don't have to have sugared stuff. You can do honey and fruits and so on. That's also good sugar intake. If you have a sweet tooth, go and get yourself fruit. Don't tell me you don't like fruit, because then you can fuck off, because then you've just been silly. There's so many different fruits out there. If you have tried them all and you don't like them, then you got to eat ones even if you don't like it. Like, I really don't like bananas, but you'll see me eating a banana every day, more than 4 or 5 bananas, because it's got a lot of potassium in it, so I don't spasm up or get any muscles straining. And it's very good for you. You can have a banana before you train instead of having a protein bar, because that protein bar is full of shit. That's definitely stuff you shouldn't be eating. If it's a natural one, like you made it yourself, or you've checked the ingredients and it's literally all good, all natural ingredients, cool. But it's probably really expensive. Bananas are cheap. Buy a bag of bananas for $20. You can buy 1 protein bar for that price. So just check on the stuff that you're doing, guys. Get advice. Ask people. Trust your own research as well, because some people might tell you, what are you talking about? Just tell them, I've done my research. What have you done? Just someone told me about this. Okay, well, that's probably why you think that. So find yourself good advisors or a mentor, or find yourself on Google. Just start typing. Shit, there's so much information out there. If you are lazy and you don't want to do the research, then you're going to have to trust someone else and trust that they're not talking shit. And some people talk a lot of shit, so you got to be careful out there, guys. Guys, I'm going to be signing off. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and if you're going away, stay safe, drive safe. I love you guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll keep on with the podcast. I might repeat myself sometimes, but sometimes you have to repeat yourself 10 times before someone actually hears it. And I am happy to advise or mentor, or if I'm wrong, I'll always correct myself. So I always try to speak only from my perspective and my views and my actual experiences. Okay, everyone has their own experience, and you have to trust your gut as well. But do your own research. If I can tell you anything, that's probably the best. Okay, because even oats, they can hit you in a wrong way. Okay, they can spike certain things in your body that shouldn't be spiking. So do some research. Look into fasting. I fast like until 12, but it's a fruit fast. So I eat fruit or vegetables or avos or bananas, apples, nachos, all of that stuff in the morning, where that's usually when I crave my sugars, so I chow it then, and then by 12 I have a meal. Oh my good God, that it can be the most bland meal, but it tastes so good, because you're waiting for that meal, and it's been working for me. So again, do your own research, test out a few things, do it on yourself first and see what it works. If not, try again, change it, adapt it. Don't stop, guys. Don't stop. It's not needed. It's not good for you. You still living. It's not good to give up. Okay, guys, have a good one. Don't settle for anything but the best for you, not the best for someone else. Okay, I love you guys. Have a great one, and that's me signing off.